Today, we are going to discuss something which is very close to our heart, and that is khadi. What you see here is a thread. Khadi is not a thread. Khadi is a lifestyle. So, what I really want to talk to you today is basically um, some data, something from my heart, something from my papers. I don't think I'll use it, but anyway. Uh, what we yes, what we said was khadi. Why khadi? Khadi is actually a brand of KBIC, which I'll come to the next slide. But khadi has come from the word khaddar, and khaddar has come from the word chadar. What is chadar? Chadar is something which you put on. And khaddar was actually a thicker variety of that, which you also used earlier in early 19th century to put on. And from that the khadi came much later. Khadi is a lifestyle because it is made by almost all villages here in India. But again, let me tell you, khadi is not only Indian. This handspun is also in South Africa. It's in South America. I've seen it in places like Ethiopia. So it is not, we call it khadi, but handspun is being used from ages across the world. But later on, after the invention of your spinning and weaving, it slowly started deteriorating and is no longer in many places. But still today, one of the country which is exporting khadi to all over the world, I'm talking about only the yarn, not the fabric, is Uruguay in South America. So what I'm trying to tell you, that it is of course Indian as a fabric. We still are one of the very few countries where we are still making fabric from hand-spun yarn. So khadi is actually hand-spun, hand-woven fabric. This is the logo, which is the which constitutes the genuine khadi, which has been branded and it has been certified by the government of the institutions which make the khadi, handspun. Handspun also is given to the spin. You see, you know it, in yarn you have got S and Z twist. And khadi yarn is Z twist. Okay? Now, what is khadi? We talked about it, but it is just not only Z twist. It is the women, it is almost a decentralized activity up till now. There are, of course, some pockets of organized activity in some part of the country, but 80 or even more than 80% of the khadi is being made in rural areas and in the home of different people. One of the major problems, the standards, the problem of quality comes because there is no, what do you call it, mentorship, not even mentorship, there is no control over each village home. They dye in their own home, they spin at their own home, so there is a difference. Almost so to have a very standard product, you need to have a little more organized, and that is what is being done now. Khadi is also almost, if you go to a village, you will see, it's almost like a mall. They have oil, they have grains, they have got almost everything of a village is available in a khadi institution. There are approximately about 15,000 retail institutions which are registered with khadi as on today. I think much more than any group of mall area. So the penetration of khadi is almost pan-India completely. There are persons like Mr. Mukherjee here who is exporting also. There are many other people also exporting. Now, because of our political heritage of khadi, we seems to be uh, uh, equating khadi with only politicians, which is now slowly has to go into oblivion, because even the politicians today are not wearing khadi, they have got something else to wear. But actually speaking, khadi is one of the best fabric for you guys to wear in either in winter or in summer. Why? Because of the yarn which I showed you. Yarn, as I said, khadi is a hand-woven fabric, spun by hand. It gets hairiness and air pockets, which gives it maximum comfort, including the loom. When it makes the construction, it allows the air to penetrate. And thick and thin yarn gives a texture which the power loom sector cannot match at any cost. Again, it deals with cotton, silk, and wool, anything which can be hand spun. When I've said cotton, I mean many other fibers which are there. When I say about wool, if you go to Uttarakhand, you will see a lot of wool from sheep. You go to even you go to Ladakh, you get from yak. You go to Rajasthan, you get from camel. You get from Uttarakhand, you get from rabbits, angoras. So there, khadi is not limited to any kind of a fiber. Fiber can be anything, but natural. It is absolutely spun and it is absolutely 100% natural. In handloom, sorry, Mr. Paul, in handloom, you still blend with viscose, you blend with everything else. Khadi, I'm not talking about poly khadi, by the way. I'm not as a fan of poly khadi as on today. I believe in khadi is in its purity. So we will prefer that khadi to be as pure as possible. If you want to blend it with silk, wool, and you can get fantastic fabrics. And of course, khadi dyed with natural dyes has no comparison. It's a complete green fabric. We are talking about, Madam talked about environment. Your whole platform today is environment. I don't think there's anything more greener than khadi to wear. I think it's already, we have organic khadi. Actually speaking, if you see in Kutch, there's a friend of mine from Kutch here. In Kutch, it's everything what they make in cotton is organic, because they have not been using pesticides from ages. So it is, unfortunately, they don't brand themselves. They don't have that facility of branding themselves as an organic. But the fiber is completely organic. So the pure is a completely pure organic. Why don't we produce something which helps somebody else as a part of the earth? And that's why khadi comes absolutely near to this concept of slow fashion. This slow fashion movement is going to grow bigger and bigger, and I'm sure khadi will certainly khadi will certainly be a major player. As I said, it's porous, and that's why it's healthy. It's a thermal quality. It is warmer in winter and cooler in summer. And see, today, this generation of yours has to understand they have got big responsibility of having simplicity. We are getting more complicated in our life. Khadi tells you to be more simple, austere, simple, and that is the statement which the khadi makes. Of course, as you said, almost 100 years have passed, And Gandhi is slowly getting forgotten, frankly. If you ask a school kid today, it becomes difficult for him to utter what he did. I think it connects to our past. We came across how khadi is made. In this one, no, can we go back to the video, please? There's a small little video made by my students of Vanastali. And this talks about how normally a khadi is made. Is made on a simple Gandhi charkha. Amber charkhas have come later on, but I'm talking about how Gandhi is, of the charkhas. I mean, I'm sure many people here know about it, but even for the sake of these kids, we in Vanastali have this process with us. The spinning is done. The cotton, which is actually a place in Vanastali where all the women who are from next to 15 kilometers around the Vanastali come to spin and weave khadi as a CSR activity. And whatever is made, it is designed by our students here, our design students. They market it also. So now we have a brand called Nari, like women, where this Nari is being sold by women empowered stores across the globe, which are designed by the students. We have just started that selling right now, about 2 months back. So dyeing is also done not in a big thing, on a very small. So basically, there's a film made to show how a small girl gets, and she's so enamored by this fabric. Khadi is made also in not only this way, but there are amber charkhas, there are solar charkhas, there are khadi institutions like Gondal, where there are about 2,500 women spin charkhas in one building. Yes, yeah, new model charkha. So there's a lot of activity which has been done in khadi right now. Khadi doesn't mean only one basic kind of fabric. Khadi has variety of fabrics, right from when Mr. Mukherjee comes, the muslin, which they can weave up to, they can spin up to 400, 500 counts, which a spinning mill anywhere cannot in the world cannot make it. They can spin by hand, and they're making, which is Bengal's once upon a time the famous muslin, which can pass through the ring. Yeah. So a very thick fabric of 2 count and 3 counts. This is one kind of a activity which encompasses all kind of fabrics, all kind. Who wears khadi? When I talk about, once was of course political leaders. Am I correct? Yeah, they were. And that was once upon a time. It was a symbol of it. We'll go through the history. I'll take you through the history. You will see, yes, it played a very big contribution. Khadi had made a very big contribution once upon a time. But now, as she rightly pointed out, we have to change our agenda. Our agenda is different. Freedom is no longer the agenda today, but how to use the freedom is the agenda. So how do we do it? Of course, many of us forget that the khadi was always a attire for rural people. If a woman spins every day, she can make about 250 or 260 grams per day, which is almost it'll make about 2 sets of what they call top and bottom, dhoti and a chadar. in a year. So if they have to barter system from spinners to weaver and weaver back to the fabric them, so a woman, the people from villages can be self-sufficient by spinning only this one family can spin easily for their fabric for the whole year. And I think the time has come, the people like us who believe in simple life and high thinking. It is a symbol. Khadi is a symbol for them. Everything else gives a very different thing. And also, people who love empathy, who have got some corner of the earth, on their heart for somebody else. And there are the number of citizens here and across the world. For example, there is a lady called Dosa, a Japanese lady based in California. She has got 23 retail units across the world. She comes and gets her khadi made here from India and sells all over the world. She designs herself. And see, there are people like that who all over the world who understand the quality of khadi. And of course, today, your generation is also looking for something which is not straight, something which has got life, something which is more richer. And I'm sure this is why this contest is going to be very, very interesting and very, 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 passionate. I'm really passionate. I'm very excited about this particular. Now let's go back to our past. The spinning is there from time immemorial. In Harappa, in Vedic time, Buddhist period, there is a mention of charkha. In the Maurya's time, there used to be a complete organization to control this. Like today, you have KBIC. Marco Polo have written about it. Mughal period was a great period for spinning and weaving. Then in 16th century, the Portuguese, Dutch and French and British came, and they came from the West for Indian textiles. And what happened? They became jealous, the British, because the Indian fabrics created a lot of problems with the British in England. And that's why the British Parliament at that time imposed duties on Indian fabrics and lower duty on the fabric which came from Manchester. By the way, Manchester used to get cotton from India, take it back to Manchester, make it, and then bring it back. But then, even then, because there was no sale so much, so they lowered the duty of this, even to an extent that even in the heavy duty, in the inland transit, even in India, the transit of fabric here was heavily taxed. And then the cheap goods from England certainly came down. This adaptation of mechanical interventions harming khadi is not new. It started then. And it certainly affected the weavers at that point. And if you see the phase one, the first cotton mill in India came in 1854. And that is the time this dignity of it had a lot of problems as far as Indian weavers are concerned. Swadeshi movement, boycotting British good. Gandhi discovered in the spinning wheel again the livelihood, because if they don't take the fabric garments from UK, then where do they go? So they have to have alternatives, and that's what Gandhi found in 1915. Phase 2, 1920 to 1925. By 21 it became a national movement, And an All India Khadi Board under the Indian National Congress was constituted for development of Khadi program. In 1925, the Indian Spinner of All India Spinner Association, or Akhil Bharat Charkha Sangh, was created. Phase 3, as I said, Swadesh was Khaddar because of manufacture of it. And if you can, this data we got in 1933, there were 10 million square yards of cloth paper produced by 2 lakh people. Today, of course, it is much bigger. Today, I think, as I told you, I don't have an exact figure right now, but just imagine if there are 15,000 only retail shops, how much cloth must have been made? This was important because this is where, right from the beginning, it was not a fabric made for profit. It was made basically for self-sustainable. It was not seen as a commercial fabric. It was always seen as a fabric which adds life to people, is for a lifestyle of people. Why I'm stressing on this is you guys will have to understand that here almost in the world today is basically very materialistic. Please understand the story behind it. So our challenge is that how do we make khadi affordable to weavers, so they can be here in this world continuing weaving and spinning. And that can only be done if you do value addition. And that's why you are here, to find out what kind of value additions you all can do. If you see, right from 48, 53, 55, 56, and in 57, Khadi and Religion Industries Commission came into being. Khadi and Religions, as I said earlier, it is doing quite a lot of work. It is doing, but again, it's a huge, mammoth organization. It has got number of divisions in different places, zones wise. Now, of course, it is a part of the MMMS ministry, MSMS ministry, but it has been doing a lot of work. But of course, it's decentralized. I still feel the touch which they have with the village people earlier is now lacking to a degree. I still feel we need to be a part of this. We cannot leave all this to the government. I think unless we join it as a mass, the movement of Khadi, and only then I suppose it will go further, which brings it to our future. Because how do we get entangled with Khadi as a person? I'll just give you some of the quote by some Indian designers, what they felt in past. Then I come to the future. There is a Khadi for comfort. Khadi can be made for comfort. Of course, it is the change in the agenda of Khadi is coming for some years now. And Rita Kapoor has been talking about this. People should endeavor to make it a part of their daily wardrobe. This is what I want you guys to have, at least one garment to be of Khadi. Khadi breathes, which makes it a green fabric. David Abraham talks about the texture. He likes the texture of Khadi, which is very rich, and it gives you the feeling of something live. So these are the guys, there are only a few of them I could put in here. Shobade have been wearing khadi 40 years, and she goes gaga over khadi. Now, khadi can be very trendy. It was once upon a time a freedom, for a matter of freedom movement. But today it is different altogether. It's a fabric, it's a preferred. I'm not talking about only in India. I'm talking about outside India. There's a movement going on, and this is the right time to strike. I do not know how long this khadi movement will be on outside India, but anyway, khadi can be unique because almost every thread is unique, every construction is unique, every dye is unique. You can't get duplicate of it. And normally we make a mistake of trying to compare it with a milk cloth, where you get everything in a mass production, everything is different, absolutely same. But here everything will be different, exactly opposite. One has to understand that is the richness, but we call it defects. Isn't it? That's what we do. Khadi, more you wash it, it becomes softer. It could be, it adds to the drape. Of course, there are a lot of disadvantages too. Shrinkage is big problem. Color fastness is again a problem, but which can be solved. We are there. There are people here who can give very fast colors. There are people who can give the right. Now today we have technology by which we can make it. We have done mercerization of khadi also. With that, we have been able to control the shrinkage. Ritu also feels, and she does a lot of bridal wear in this. And khadi can always be customized. You can make khadi right from spinning. You can make it divided and make it different altogether, which is what I feel. All of you, I'm telling you guys, all of you there, that please understand these are the areas. Why I'm putting it here is so that you make it customized. You don't have to work from the fabric itself. You can go back to the spinning. Sarvasachi, of course, has been using it. Anyway, there are hundreds of such cases. These just few of them which came into my mind right now. So, what I'm coming to at the end is you and khadi. Where does that comes in? Please try to understand. You have a different perception. You know your generation much better. You know how to customize khadi for that kind of generation, and that is what we would like to have from you in this competition. In this competition, we would like to know what are the new innovations which you would like to wear. Our some team which are here, they have done quite a lot of work in innovation. They have done digitization. On digital prints. They are doing a lot of innovation in spinning and weaving, and of course in processing. But I still feel that major area of work which can be done by you guys in the surface work and actually in the processing of khadi. I hope I'm trying to make you understand there is an enormous latent scope for all of you, and that's what this presentation is for. I'm just trying to excite you that look, you guys have a huge area to work on. Okay, so I hope by the time you come back, finish it, and you will be like the little girl who feels that khadi fag is her identity. Because the one thing which I forgot to tell you is, I think being an Indian, when you become designers tomorrow, where will you get your identity? Chinese have their identity, Japanese have their identity. What is your identity? Is this Western? Oh no, your 5,000 years old culture is going to be your identity. isn't it? And Khaddar is one which it should be the most easiest one which will give you the identity immediately. Thank you. Thank you very much.